Hello, friends. How are you guys doing today? So I wanted to talk about something, or a few things, sorry, that have been basically going on in my life, like stories from the past. I guess we could call this. You guys don't know what it's called, but I have no clue what I'm going to call this. Okay, so I'm going to start off. The other day, you guys know who Morpheus ASMR is? He makes videos where he eats like breakfast, dinner, lunch, all this. I went over to his channel, and for like 6 days in a row, I commented for him to eat Reese's Puffs, and he didn't know what they were, so he liked them. So, in honor of him, I've got some Reese's Puffs. Got a post for the thumbnail, sorry. But I got some Reese's Puffs, and I really like these, and I commented for him to eat them, and he did. So thank you, Morpheus, for that. So we're just gonna leave those there, and I have a nice. I have to eat out of a cup because with my metabolism, if I eat out of a bowl, they're a lot bigger, and so I'll eat more without knowing, and then that's like unhealthy. So I'm trying to cut back on the calories. Now that I think about it, I probably will end up eating more Reese's peanut butter puffs though. So I don't know. That's why I eat out of a cup. That and all the bowls were dirty, but the first excuse is the actual one. So, but nonetheless, I figured today we could just eat some Reese's Puffs. I could talk about certain events in my life that have happened, because there's been a lot of weird things that have went on. So I don't know. Where should I start with the stories? I don't know. Let's try some of these Reese's Puffs first. There we go. Reese's Puffs are the life, man. I like them after they get super soggy. I don't know what it is about Reese's peanut butter puffs, but I just like how they're so, they're super chocolatey, and it turns the milk into like just pure chocolatey peanut buttery milk. It's really nice. I should probably get more milk though. I don't know, I'll probably end up eating a lot more peanut butter puffs than I probably should, so that's just how I am. But I wanted to tell like 2 or 3 stories, just like a little ramble about my life, basically. I thought this could be like a fun, interesting video, so I hope you guys do enjoy. Okay, so the first story that I want to mention is so the time I got me and my cousins, my sister, lost in the woods. It's kind of funny, actually. Okay, so like 2 or 3 years ago, we had a little family reunion out at a park in the middle of nowhere. And we had like 100 family members there. And we were all going out to just basically reconnect with our family, get to know each other, people that we haven't seen before, get to know them, things like that. It was pretty fun. But my cousins that I had seen like twice before that, they're like very outdoors and athletic kind of people, And me, I play video games and edit videos all day, so I'm pretty lethargic. I don't really exercise, so I'm pretty lazy. Like in a sense of physical movements. But like I'm always busy. I'm always working really hard. But okay, let me just get into the story before I just ramble everybody's ear off, because I could just go on for hours. I know GB ASMR can go for hours on end too. So okay, anyways, so we were just having fun and we ran out of things to do. The adults were just talking over there in the corner by themselves. So I asked my cousins, I was like, do you guys want to go hiking in the woods? Sorry about that. If you guys see a few cuts, people in my house just started waking up for some reason. I try to record late at night so I can get like the whole house silent, but I don't know. People like to wake up as soon as I do this, so anyways, so I took my cousins and my sister into the woods, and we were at first we started with stick forts. We were just building like these massive forts. It was really fun. But eventually I wanted to go deeper into the woods, and I think these woods were about 20 to 30 miles in expanse. This pretty massive. Like, you can get lost pretty easily, especially when everything looks about the same. So I took my cousins in there, and once we got like probably about half a mile in, I did something very stupid, and I don't really regret it because it was funny at the time. But sorry, I spun around in a circle, and I got lost. I thought that one way was leading us out, but it was actually leading us deeper into the woods. You know those like I survived horror stories where they have like where they get lost in the woods or stuck on a cliffside of a mountain and they barely survive? It's kind of like that. Except there were people still in the woods, but they were telling us the way they came in and not the way we came in. I started punching trees, right? Like, when I say punching, I mean I started like, I punched it so hard that my knuckles were raw for like almost a week and a half. And that hurt. I was like, I actually thought I could break the tree. It was kind of stupid of me. So, eventually I realized it's not going to work and that I'm just hurting myself. I'm like, okay, screw it. Let's go on a hike deeper into the woods. So we get like half a mile in, right? We're walking for like 10 minutes, but the terrain inside of this forest is like, okay, so you come in on a little plateau like this, and you gotta go down. Literally, I'm not joking. It's this. There's some trees sticking up out of the ground. You're like that. So use the trees to basically walk down. So I remember we went down, and then it's flat at the bottom for just like 3 or 4 feet across, and had like water and little pebbles. So if you fell, you'd fall in. And then the way back up was literally a straight wall, just up. I was like, okay, we can do this. And they were down, so we did it. It got super muddy and everybody got wet, but nonetheless we made it. And one thing I didn't realize was that the wall that goes up actually curved like this, so we were climbing like this. It was actually kind of weird how we were doing it. We would hop on a tree and like fold inside of it and get up to the top. It was weird, but we made our way up and we walked for like what we thought was half a mile, but it turns out it was about 2 or 3 miles. And the terrain was making it like super difficult to do something right. And I did the one thing you never want to do. Since I was a leader, I thought it'd be fun to get us lost. I intentionally did this, by the way. I spun around in a circle and it got us lost. And once I thought I knew the direction because I was paying attention to the sun, but by then the sun had already set. So we're walking around in these woods and the sun is getting dark. Like, the sun is past the trees. It's only probably like 4 or 5 p.m. But when you're in the trees and there's a canopy of leaves above you, the sun just gets blocked right out. Let me eat some of these Reese's Puffs real quick. Sorry, they look too good. Okay. Well, anyways. So, I walked us into these woods for like 3 or 4 miles. Realized we got lost, and I spun around, and I realized I couldn't find the way back. But I acted confident. I acted like I knew what I was doing. So I walked forwards for probably, I think it was probably about another 3 or 4 miles into these woods, and we were lost at this point. Like, we had been screaming and hollering for somebody to hear us. Nobody could hear us. Nobody was around for miles. There was no cars. It was like that weird dead silence when there's nothing, not even the emptiness of sound. It's like you're in the vacuum of space and all the sound has been sucked out of the air. It's kind of really creepy. And I thought something was watching me, and I was like, what the heck is this? They felt it too. My cousins and my sister were all like, everybody's hair was on end. And we thought somebody was watching us. So we continued for like another mile, right? And eventually we hear like a little bit of rustling in the trees, and I'm like, oh hell no, it's a fucking cougar. I'm out. Like, I I think I actually hit the dab, and I told him run. I was like, run, bitch, run. And I was like bringing him along, right? And then I heard a noise from the trees, and it sounded like a man. I was like, oh, maybe it's a guy. So I stop and I kind of turn around, and I see a face peeking out of the bushes. I'm like, okay, buddy, what the hell are you doing? He's like, I've been trying to catch up with you guys for a while now. You guys seem to be lost. I'm like, hell no. There's a random guy in the woods. There's nobody around, and we're kids, and this is probably like a 70-year-old man with a backpack, a bottle of water, and a compass, and a map. And I'm like, okay, we can trust this dude, right? Because I was like super young at the time. I think I was only like 17, so I was pretty ignorant still. And I'm like, okay, hi, how you doing? I shook his hand. I introduced myself. I said, I accidentally got us lost. I don't know where we are. He's like, oh, you're only like half a mile into the woods. If you turn around and you go this way, you will, you'll get out. Okay. He had a map, so I trusted him. So we parted ways, and I waved to him. We walked. And I'm pretty sure we had our phones, but they had no bars. So we started walking, I think, in that direction about 4:11 p.m. It was like 4:11, 4:30, somewhere between there. And we stopped walking. Probably 5:30. It's about an hour we walked for nothing. And I realized we were lost. I was like, oh, hell no. And by this time it was almost pitch black outside. So I'm like, what the f is going on? Like, there was barely any light. But what little light we did see was barely visible. And we seen a tower in the distance. So we decided if we climbed it, we would get on top of the tower, and we could get a signal for our phones. By this time, we had been trying to get bars for so long that all but one of our phones was dead, and my cousin's phone only had 4% battery left. So we were like, if this doesn't work, we actually might spend a night in the woods. We were panicking, like our hearts were going. We were like racing, like we ran towards this thing, ran up, and he held up his phone in the air, and no signal. Fuck. Okay, what do we do now? He's up there walking around with his phone, right? Walking around with his phone, and all of a sudden we heard a noise come from the bottom of the tower. We were all up top, but it sounded like somebody else was climbing up. I was sitting there like, what? Okay, so I peeked over the edge, right? And I swear to God, this is like one of those creepypasta kind of moments. I looked over the edge, and the guy who had been following us in the woods had his head peeked over like this, right? He was like this. He was looking up. Like, he already knew where I was going to look. Like, this man was weird as hell. He's like, are you guys still lost? I swear to God, we went shit. Like, we had a plan. If he would come up the rail, we would just grab him and throw him over. Like, we swear to God, we were committed, because the way the guy had been acting, once we departed from him, he had still been stalking us in the woods. So it was actually pretty fucked up. And we were like shaking. Even just think about it right now, it's like messing with me. How can I enjoy my Reese's Puffs? I'm sorry, I didn't mean for this to turn into a horror story, but this man like followed us for a good 2 to 3 hours in these woods. And as soon as I seen him, my cousin was like, dude, look. He points to his phone, and he's got a bar, and then it goes away. And he's got an internet bar, and it goes away. And I'm like, tap in your parents' number and prepare. So he types it in. Bar comes back. He calls. He's like, hey, we're stuck on a radio tower in the middle of nowhere. We need help, and we don't know where it is. And we just heard music blaring. Like, we're like, okay, what the fuck? Are you guys even looking for us? And she's like, honey, we didn't even know you were lost. And I'm over there. What? We've been gone at this point for 5 hours. Okay? 5 hours. And they didn't know we were gone. Look down at the clock. 6 p.m. Okay. We went on top of the tower till about maybe 6:10 or so, expecting them to come around a corner, because they said they would start looking for us, right? And the thing with the weird guy on the tower, once I seen him, like, He's like, you guys still lost? We just freaked the hell out. And I was like, bro, just leave us alone. And he walked back down the tower. And that was the last we saw of him. But I swear he was in those woods till somewhere. I was freaking the fuck out. I was like, oh, shit, here we go. I was like, I had a stick. And I had broke it on a tree. And I made a spear. I was like, if this guy comes around, he's gonna get shanked. Like, that's just a positive, okay? But we waited on the tower. 6:30, sun almost completely gone. I hear a truck. I'm like, yes. And because his parents owned a truck, so we get off the tower and we start walking in the truck. They see us and they stop and we're like, hey, is this you? It wasn't his parents, it was some random people. And we were like, well, can you take us back to the camp? And the guy, he was like, what a freaking a-hole. He's like, the camp is about 4 or 5 miles this way. And then took off. Okay? You just left 4 kids stranded in the middle of a dark ass forest in the middle of night. Buddy, are you for real? And there's a weird ass guy in these woods. I was so scared that, but I didn't want to show it, you know. So I had like this complex of being like, if somebody comes here, they will get stabbed. Like I was on that case, you know. But I was freaking the hell out so bad. Finally, I don't know how, but we seen some lights through some trees. We walked, it was probably like 9 or 10 p.m. And we see some lights in these trees. And we walk out and we're like, I think it was like, I don't know the name of the park, but we were on the other side of it, about like 7 or 8 miles past the forest. So it would have taken about 13 to 14 miles to get back to where we were walking. We asked people for a ride and they're like, no. We come out, we look like all sweaty and dirty and disgusting, and we smelled bad. We hadn't had water all day, might I add. We had just drank pops right before we entered the woods. So we had just been downing Pepsis and Mountain Dews, and we were dehydrated as hell. Like, our lips were so dry, and nobody was helping us. I was like, what the hell? Where are we? Like, Selfishville? Like, what the hell is going on, bro? So, I walk with my friends. He finally gets another internet signal, and he calls his mom. And his mom is like, fine. They come down and they come get us, and she's like, don't ever go back in the woods again. You really think we are going to? We actually had it set up to where we'd go back in, not the same day, but like next time we have a meetup. So the next time we do, we'll go back in, but we'll be more prepared. But that was actually messed up how that happened. Like, for like 8 hours, we were stuck in those woods with no help. Nobody was helpful, and the weird, creepy guy. But, like, the whole time we were walking, I kept hearing stuff behind me, like leaves and stuff, like rustling. I was like, any minute he's gonna jump out with a knife and end me. So, I don't know. That was actually terrifying as hell. Yeah, like, dang. I don't know. If you guys have any stories, or if you guys want me to potentially read any stories, let me know. I'm going to call it quits for now. I'm going to continue eating these Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs, but I'm not going to tell another story. I'll just whisper about, like, what I plan to do for the channel, I guess, because I don't really have enough time for another story, so. I do plan on making more of these, especially if you guys end up liking these, because I have a lot of crazy stories that I'd like to share with you guys. I don't know. Let me know if you guys want to see more of these, but my infatuation with Reese's Peanut Butter Puffs is ridiculous. This is by far one of the best cereals known to mankind. I really do think that weird creepy guy in the woods can screw off. If by some random chance you're watching this, you almost did get stabbed and thrown off a rail. Like, I'm not a killer. I don't plan on killing anybody, but don't mess with my sister and my cousins, or anybody that I care about. Like, oh my god, dude, that was very scary. One of those surreal moments. Sorry if this isn't really that relaxing either. I could just go on all day with this, but you guys probably don't even want to hear that. I don't know. Hope your guys' day has been going pretty well. The best cereal known to mankind, I swear. Well, I want to thank you guys for joining me this video. Sorry if this is kind of weird. If you guys don't like this, be sure to let me know. I'd like to do more of these, though. I really would. Just more story videos. I think next time I'll definitely have it bullet pointed out and more organized. But this was just pretty much just a test to see, because if I'm going to do more, you know, I'd rather have it be a hit rather than a miss. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a good night.